Welcome back to America Decides. CBS News has learned an unknown and unauthorized third party, that's a quote, gained access to the depositions of witnesses in multiple investigations dealing with Matt Gaetz. The materials include testimony from the minor that Gaetz allegedly had sex with. Trump's pick for Attorney General has denied all wrongdoing. Nancy Cordes and Finn Gómez join us now. So it's not often, but occasionally I'm allowed to leave this bureau and venture up to Capitol Hill. I did so this morning, and I will tell you this. Senate Republicans, I think, can be fairly described about this matter, Matt Gaetz as Attorney General, as squeamish.
And yet...
Not eager to take questions, not eager to get into the revelations and the process. They're just like, give us a minute, give us a minute. There'll be a process. We'll get to it. But I would say squeamish and scurrying is the way to describe them.
And you know who's not giving them a minute is Donald Trump himself, because he is making
no minutes
calls.
Given.
He is not giving them a single minute. He is making calls himself, we're told, to senators to gauge their interest.
Many of them have already said that on camera. Yeah.
His vice president is
going up there tomorrow.
Making calls, going up there
with
on Gaetz's behalf. Gaetz himself is plowing full steam ahead. So even though there are a number of Senate Republicans who say, we're not comfortable with this pick, they're plowing ahead as if there's still a chance this could happen.
And it's, Finn, becoming somewhat evident, I would say somewhat, that there is at least a measure, I'm not sure exactly how deep it is, of Senate Republican curiosity about the contents of this House Ethics Committee report that was being prepared to be released and would have been released had Matt Gaetz not suddenly resigned from the House of Representatives. What's your take on that, and what effect, if any, that might have on the confirmation process?
If you look at it all, if you look at it from a bird's eye perspective, it looks like there's been some coordination here. I think there's been some strategic effort, not only through the Hill, the resignation, the timing of the resignation, the pick itself. Which is causing, as you said, and as you saw on the Hill today, just a lot of distraction, I think. I think it is a strategic distraction by
What's
Donald
the strategy?
Trump.
Break that down.
I think part of it's political, right? Even if he goes down, it's like a win-win.
Even if he's not confirmed.
Even if he's not confirmed, and again, from squeamish senators, I think what it can do is that it can distract from some of Donald Trump's other picks, but also it puts pressure on the Senate, right? On these Senate Republicans. In a time when he's coming here with a mandate, right? He's saying that, and also if you look at some of these senators, including like Tom Tillis from North Carolina, he's up in 2 years, right? So his MAGA base has already said on Twitter and on other platforms, we're coming after you
if you don't vote to confirm.
Exactly.
Expect a primary challenge.
And if he doesn't, he can have that political cover to say, look at what's happening, and push through with his other potentially controversial picks there.
Finn used the phrase bird's eye view. Let's take it a little bit higher, Nancy. I'm a journalist of a certain age. I remember when a nominee for Attorney General could be eliminated like that for failing to properly pay taxes for a nanny.
Right.
At minimum, at the most generous and deferential characterization of Matt Gaetz and his partying, he routinely attended parties in which women barely over the age of consent were present, they were paid to have sex with them, and drugs were present. That sounds to me a little bit more disturbing for the chief law enforcement officer of the federal government than failure to pay your nanny taxes, and yet we are considering this with some due seriousness.
And he's not the only nominee who is dealing with allegations, perhaps not this serious, but allegations of sexual misconduct. And I think this leak that you saw today in what is a civil defamation case, including a deposition from a 17-year-old girl who says that Gaetz had sex with her. I think what it shows is that whether or not this House ethics report is released, it's going to make its way to senators one way or another. This information is going to get out there.
And the potential for the accusers, their names to be identified. Frankly, we don't know who this third-party person is.
No. And you mentioned this idea of strategy. It's now almost become a cliche, Finn, to describe this confirmation process initiated by President-elect Trump as flooding the zone, as putting lots of different people who, were they only the one who was controversial, may not be confirmed. But many others might, to your point, get confirmed, even if one, maybe two, isn't.
No, absolutely. And I think that.
And transition officials don't necessarily agree to that, but they don't aggressively deny that there's a strategy there.
But you know, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck, man. It is a duck, and I think that's what you're seeing here. The other part of this is major. I do think that if Donald Trump were to pull a nomination, right at this point, this is, as you know, you've covered him for a long time. This is not a man who ever acknowledges a mistake or an apology, or offers an apology, right? It's a sign of weakness for him. So he's not going to do that. From even if it's in swirling in controversy, he's just not. That's something that he is not expected to do.
He'll get credit for trying to push the system as hard as he pushed it, whether or not Matt Gaetz is confirmed or not.
And increases political capital with the base that helped him win.
Right. Finn Gómez, Nancy Cordes, always a pleasure. Thanks so much.